this is not sustainability or environmentally friendliness is not our USP. It is a must-have. I see it just as important as our tax return. That is like, we have to do it as a business. So for me, I am very much like, that is my focus point.
And why do you think it's so important to be focused on it? As a business in general, why should it be a key focus as much as getting you that return, right?
I think the first thing, and that where it kind of initially started, is being as efficient as possible enables you to be more sustainable. So the simple thing of, if you have a pair of trousers and they rip and you repair that pair of trousers, that is actually more efficient on resources. So therefore, we should encourage customers to do that. And it saves us money because we're not having to replace a pair of trousers for that person, or the customer is not having to buy a new pair. So I think the first obvious example that I kind of came with was when I started the brand, it was standard in the apparel industry to have a plastic bag in every garment. And this was just like a waste of plastic in my eyes. It didn't need to be there. So I saved 13p every product by getting rid of that plastic bag. There you have it. And that's more sustainable. I think sustainability should be good for bottom line and good for the planet. So that's why it's always been the fundamentals. Is like, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't want to make profit. I want to make profit, but I want to do that in a way of doing it that's better for the environment.
And so how do you start them building that into the design of the product? Obviously, one, getting the plastic and identifying the waste, but once you kind of get to a certain point, where does the improvements come from?
So one thing that we are really keen on is dyes. So firstly, 95% of our carbon and environmental impact is in our scope 3, which is our manufacturing of products. So we are now, when we design, we look at how can we make it less impactful. So one thing is, when we dye yarn, we have to submerge all the reels into one big basin of dye. Now, if we can fill up the whole basin, as it were, we're not having to use so much dye and there's less waste. So we will make sure that when we're designing products in our ranges, that the colors overlap across multiple ranges. Not only does this bring the brand together, it's cheaper, and it's meaning we've got less wasted dye. So it's just thinking in a way of looking at the whole supply chain and ensuring that our whole team know the whole supply chain. So it comes into initially a point of communication. So everyone on our team should know where every product's made. And we also want to communicate that to the customer. So it soon will be legislation where we use digital product passports, which will enable the customer and our team to see the whole chain. They'll see videos of every step of that supply chain process. So it's not just me looking and going, oh, look, why are they doing that, Tom? Someone in our team can go, why are they doing that? Why don't we combine that, and it can make it cheaper and more sustainable? And that's kind of how we look at it in product design from a dye perspective. And the same then goes into offcuts. When we're cutting fabrics, we'll make sure that the actual patterns are orientated to minimize fabric waste, and then any fabric waste that we do have, we'll try and make into products. So kind of at the moment, we're trying to have a low, we used to say no waste, but there is some waste, and I can't sit here and say there's no waste, but very much a low waste manufacturing process.